Hey everybody, and welcome back to Hollywood Knockbusters here on the Indie Film Cafe Network. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I'm here with,
Mary Kate.
yes, Mary Kate is here, and this is her first time on Hollywood Knockbusters. I'm really excited. I think this is your first time on this one, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
we did the snake one last time.
Yeah, so the only
Yes.
one you've done with me was the snake one we did, right?
Mhm.
The only one we've done. So here you go. Well, I think, right?
Oh no, we did Final Destination with Michael too.
That's true. That's
hmm
true. So we did
hmm
that too. But yeah, so you've been on a few already.
hmm
And so welcome back.
Thanks.
But welcome to Hollywood Knockbusters, where this is gonna be the fifth season, which I mean, I can't believe it's been going on. I'm hoping to get to at least 10 by the end of, it's 5 more years from now, but I mean I have no idea what is in store like next year, or whatever, So we'll see. But this is pretty easy, pretty fun kind of stuff. So I'm pretty sure I can
hmm
continue doing these. So we're going to talk about the 1980, was it
5.
5?
I believe it was 85.
I was 3 when this movie came out.
Yeah, see me too. No, I was 2.
You were 2?
I
Okay,
was
so you're
born
a
in
year
83.
younger.
I was born in 83.
83. I'm born 82.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I was 3 when this movie came out, and you were 2. And but I did discover it on home video. I'm pretty sure you did too. And
Absolutely.
you have something to show us. You
I
have,
do. So I have my original Clue Master Detective board game that I played as a kid,
as a kid. So
just
you
to
kept
show how
that?
much I love this.
Oh, wow. I want to get, there's like a supernatural clue, you know?
Oh my gosh, really?
I think so. Like, I think I remember saying that. So I want to get that at some point.
Oh yeah,
I
I
collect
love
everything
that too.
supernatural.
Yes, me too. That's cool.
Yeah, so I would definitely love to get that at some point. But I mean, I love that they do like different style. Like there's a Harry Potter clue and there's,
Really?
I think so, yeah.
Oh man, I'm in the dark on all that. I know they do Monopoly like that, but I didn't know they did Clue like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look.
I want to double make sure
Yeah.
of that, but like
Oh, I'm
uh
sure you're right.
what is it? Harry Potter clue. Because that would make sense, right?
Oh yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
but that would be so much fun. I mean, being I might get that. I might Yeah, so there's a new Harry Potter edition clue mystery game. That's awesome from Hasbro. So
That's
it's
awesome.
official. Um, I wonder how many there are, because there are like so
A
many
lot,
different
I'm sure.
types. Yeah, like you said, Monopoly. They do a
hmm
bunch of different things for different ones. I mean, it, Clue and Monopoly are probably the biggest ones. Right? Like I don't
Yep.
know, they don't do any other ones.
No, uh-uh.
Because like those are sort of interchangeable for the stuff, like in the Harry Potter one, you'd be like Harry or Hermione or
Yeah.
whatever. And God, so yeah, I think my niece is in the other room. So I don't want to talk too loud about it, but that's something I'd probably get her for Christmas.
How cute.
Yeah, I think she would enjoy that. If she
That's
doesn't already
awesome.
have it, that's the thing. Like, who knows what people already have? You just gotta guess and hope, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Um, but let's let's get into it. So, so we'll talk about do you remember the first time you saw Clue or
Yes.
okay.
So, I played that game obviously a lot when I was young. I don't know. I started probably playing it when I was like 6 years old with my siblings or whatever. So I played the game hardcore and loved it, and then didn't know there was even a movie made based on it until junior high. And then one of my friends was like, "Oh, have you seen the movie?" And I'm like, "Shut your face. There's a movie." And I'm like, "I love this game so much." And then we totally watched it, popcorn the whole bit. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I love this movie." So it was around junior high that she told me about it and I had to watch it. So that's the first time I watched it.
Wow, I don't remember exactly, but I do remember that this was like one of those movies that I watched over and
And
over and
over.
over again.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm an adult and watching it, I'm like thinking, why did I laugh? Because like as a kid,
You
there's
didn't know.
there's not many like there's not many jokes for kids in this movie. This is an
No,
adult movie,
absolutely, 100%.
right?
I
Like,
know, but all of us watched all of that stuff so young. I mean, oh my
right. I
God.
mean, you look back at some of your old favorites, like when I look back at like Ghostbusters, a lot of
Yes,
adult jokes.
yes,
Like I never got what the ghost was doing to
yeah,
Ray,
exactly.
when he's just floating and all of a sudden she disappears and unzips him
Yeah.
and like he's like
Yeah.
the whole time and
Even
I'm
like
like,
Home Alone is like that too. You know what I mean? There's a lot of adult jokes in that that you kind of
mhm.
like laughed as a kid. You're like, oh, that's funny. And then watching it now, I'm like, oh,
Well, and I've got to wonder because adults write these movies. It's not
yeah,
kids.
yeah,
Uh only few people let their kids write movies and they don't usually turn out as well,
no,
as you
yeah,
would think because like it's really nice that they do that and it's a nice little bonding thing, but
yeah,
kids,
but they don't wind up as good.
well,
Absolutely.
yeah, and the parents just have to like make sure that the this writing is
Yeah.
decent before going into production. But so Clue was written by an adult, and everything was. I know Jonathan Lynn
Yep.
who directed it. Did he write it too?
That I don't know.
I didn't know this. John Landis did the story.
Oh,
That's weird. That's weird to think because like I love John Landis, but
yeah.
I couldn't imagine somebody going to John Landis and saying, "Give
Can
me
you
a
write this
story
campy movie?
For Clue the game," and him going, "I've got an idea,"
Yeah, exactly.
right? And then let's see. Oh, it was based on so what is this?
The British game?
Cluedo?
Yeah, Cluedo, I think. Yeah, it
Cluedo?
was a British game first, which is kind of funny.
Okay, so that's what they're credited for the writing credits is John Landis as story, Jonathan Lynn as story, so he's co-story with John Landis, and he also did the screenplay. And Anthony E. Pratt is the board game creator, I guess. So
Oh, wow.
he got uncredited, but he was the creator of Cluedo, and I guess that
Hmm.
was what started it off before America just steals everything, and
Yeah, well,
nobody knows Cluedo, but everybody knows
that was
Clue.
Clue,
So, I mean,
exactly.
finally America does something right.
Yeah. Something I
Really,
did read, which was cool, is the exact layout of the mansion in the movie is exactly the same as the board game. And so are the secret rooms. They're all the same to the likeness of the board game. And I thought that was cool. Like, I never picked up on that, which is funny, but I just read it recently and I was like, oh man, that's so cool. So everything's exactly the same as it is in the game.
yeah, let's go to the study. Let's go to
Yes,
the
exactly.
library. Let's go to
Mm-hmm.
the kitchen.
Yes.
Let's go to whatever, all these
Yep.
different places. And yeah, I never I didn't know that, but like when I was rewatching it originally with my friend, who we hadn't both hadn't seen it in forever, and we got hold on, the 4K of it, and from Shout.
Awesome.
Did you buy this or
So I did. I bought the Blu-ray. I didn't get the 4K one, but I got the Blu-ray one.
okay? Do you have a 4K or
No.
okay? So that
No,
would
I
make
know.
sense.
Behind the
Yeah,
times.
but it does have the Blu-ray with it. It has
Yeah.
both. Some companies now don't do that. They don't do the Blu-ray as well. You have to get those separately, but Shout is very nice to let us
Yeah. Well, I
have
heard
it.
they're starting to just do away with it all entirely, which makes me heartbroken. So I'm glad that I did
What
buy
do
it.
you
Just as
mean?
far as Blu-ray production in general. Yeah, I saw an article that said they're just going to start to not distribute them that way anymore.
No, there's a lot of misinformation about that too.
Hopefully that's not true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was one bit like that was scaring a lot of because I've got a show that I do called The
Yes,
Blu-ray Hunter, and
yes.
so I'm really big into that. And then so one of the things I'll do is I'll go to people's like Instagrams and their YouTube channels and follow them and check out what people are talking about.
Okay.
And one of the big things that they talk about right now is the big hot topic is Blu-ray or physical media dying, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's not yet.
Yeah.
There are there was something about Sony. taking like getting rid of certain whatever, but it wasn't they're not getting rid of their Blu-rays. They're just not manufacturing certain kind of discs, you know.
Oh, okay.
So, but that's the problem is like misinformation even in the YouTube thing.
Oh,
A
it
lot
makes
of
everything
people,
crazy.
yeah,
True.
people be like, "Oh, I guess, it's dying now." And I'm
And then
like,
they panic buy stuff, which is crazy.
yeah, well, I mean,
Mhm.
I panic buy stuff all the time anyway because a lot of things go out of print
Yeah.
very easily.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm one of those guys that like, if I can see a deal,
Yeah.
was talking to somebody yesterday about it because we were on a podcast and I said, I don't like, I'll buy like a 4K, you
Uh-huh.
know, and then, but I'll spend like $30 on a 4K and then I'll only spend 25 to 20 for Blu-ray, and then DVDs, I Dollar
Yeah.
Tree or whatever, because
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't, like I will not spend.
No, because
Uh,
they don't last long at all. Even especially the newer ones, they're just made to kind of be disposable, which sucks. But
well, yeah, I mean, there's really not many new DVDs being made.
no.
It's usually unless those are like the indie films,
Yeah.
like when the Clown Motel movie that you're doing
Yep.
comes out, it'll probably come out on DVD and not Blu-ray. And
Yeah.
that's because independent filmmakers and all that stuff, they get their movies on DVD. They're lucky if they get it on Blu-ray, and it kind of sucks. I'm wishing that more companies would start distributing, like
Hmm.
ITN and other companies would start distributing through Blu-ray and leave DVD manufacturing. It's cheaper. That's why
Yeah.
they do it. But like, companies like ITN do like the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey movies and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
You would think that they would, or whatever, they would get those things. So, but anywho, to go back to Clue, yeah. So when I was a kid, I remember renting this from the video store,
Yeah.
but and watching it over and over again. And it became like when I think I put it on Betamax. Like,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So that's a long time ago. But you remember Betamax, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
So we had a Betamax player and a VHS player. So what we do is we copy we rent the movie on VHS, we
Oh,
copy it to Beta, and then I'm pretty sure I Clue, that was one of them, and I
yeah.
just
Because
watch
then
it.
you could
Oh,
just rewatch it.
yeah,
That's
I'd watch
awesome.
that. I'd watch. My friends would come over and we'd have like a choice of all these different movies.
Yes.
Um, I got really upset when one of my friends invited me over to his house, and he's an older man that was sort of a little like had a problem with himself,
Okay.
and stuff. He was really nice, and I
Yeah.
liked him. And he was kind of like a kid, but he was older, like he was in his like 30s, and he was still living with his parents because he was mentally not,
Yeah.
not there or whatever. But I went up to his room, and I was like, holy crap! He had regular VHSs, not just like
Of course.
Betamax recorded. He'd have
Yes.
all the James Bond movies, and
Yes.
he let me borrow stuff, and I was like, oh my God, I
Yeah.
really really appreciate that, dude. I unfortunately don't know whatever happened to him. I don't know if he moved or if he's no longer with us or something,
Yeah.
but kind of was sad when like all of a sudden he stopped. I never saw him again.
Yeah.
So but he had this huge collection of, I'd like to think he's out there somewhere having a big collection of DVDs
Oh, I'm
it's-
sure.
or something.
Absolutely. A whole big
Um,
room of them.
yeah,
That's
whole room.
awesome.
I mean, his room had like a closet that had just, and I
Oh,
was
that's
like,
cool.
yeah, I looked and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, and he was like, yeah, pick whatever one you want to borrow, and I was
Oh man, that's cool.
like free rental.
Yeah. Oh, I
Uh,
miss video stores so bad.
I, when I was living in LA, I lived in Van Nuys for a little bit. I don't know if you know that area.
Yep. Yep. I was originally from there, so.
What? Really?
hmm
I did
Yeah.
not
I
know
was
that.
born in Thousand Oaks,
Oh,
so.
wow. Holy
Mhm.
crap. Yeah. I would go down to Thousand Oaks all the time. And so there was this, there actually is in that area, a VH, like a video store that's still
It,
around.
No way.
Yeah, I forgot what it's called. I don't know if it's still now.
Yeah, it
This was
probably,
during
yeah.
COVID,
I
so
would
it could have.
hope that it still is, but
I hope it is still is
yeah.
too. I wanted to work there because I used to work at a video store.
So
So
did I. That's so
yes,
funny. I've worked at three different video chains, Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, and then one called Video Zone that was our local one. But I worked at three different video stores.
I only worked at one, but I worked at three different locations.
Oh, see, that's
Uh,
cool.
yeah, so it was the same chain. It was originally called Video Update,
Oh, that's great.
but and then then Video Update went bankrupt, I guess,
Oh,
or whatever its thing. That's why all of a sudden, like, if you watch certain movies, I forgot what they are, I have to look them up. But there are certain movies that actually have Video Update in them.
really?
Yeah.
Oh
So
man, that's cool.
yeah, so we would go and I would rent video. Well, I remember the day I came in, I asked for a job. I was 18. I just turned 18, so I was like super excited to have a job there.
Yeah.
You had to be 18 because there was a, section back there,
Yes, yes,
X-rated
yes. One of
section.
our local ones had that too.
Yeah. Which funniest thing is more people go in there on Sunday morning because everybody else is in church. So it's like there's not that many people, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden you see like a whole bunch of people just kind of walk in and look around and then go right back there, and then, right, like they were like ashamed,
Yep.
of what they were doing. Didn't bother me, like, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing is if like a pastor did that, then maybe I might
Yes.
be like,
But like, hey now.
what are you?
Yeah, I
You're
know.
renting like nuns, on the fun? What is going on
That's the fun.
there? But yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I got that job, and or I asked for the job, and um this lady Beth, who I absolutely loved, uh, she was my manager, and she had always known me as the person like very quiet when
Uh-huh.
I came up, because like when I rented movies, I'm not going to be very talkative,
Yeah.
renting movies. I just come in, I rent my movie, and I go home,
Yeah.
or whatever. So I told her, yeah, hey, I'd like to apply for a job. I saw you guys have a, wanted sign or whatever. And she was like, are you going to be able to do this job? Because you're very quiet. And I was like, I think so, maybe, you
Oh man,
know?
that's kind of funny.
And then later she was like, wow, Jonathan, you don't shut up. And so like I shocked her on that
That's great.
thing. Yeah. But I
Oh
know I loved working there.
yeah.
Absolutely. But would I ever want to go back to doing it now? Probably not. It would be weird. Um,
Oh, I would love it. I would totally invest in making a video store if I had like oodles of money or something. Like pizza and video rentals. I would totally do it.
pizza and that's a cool thing.
Yeah,
That's almost a great title.
right?
Pizza and Reynolds.
With pizza
Yeah.
and rentals. That's
Yeah.
that's it right there.
That tells you everything you need to know about the store.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah, I remember the first movie that I like prepped because we'd have to prep them at that time was
hmm?
Titanic, and it
Oh,
was
that's 90.
VHS. Yep, and it was the VHS of Titanic, and that was right when VHS and DVDs started to like coexist.
Hmm.
And then eventually it was just all DVDs. But I remember it was Titanic, and it was so funny because I was like, oh man, I'm gonna remember this, later that I was sitting here prepping like hundreds of Titanic DVDs and VHSs or whatever. But it was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it was good
hilarious.
stuff.
I don't, wow, so that you started young. You must have been 16
Yeah.
when
Yeah, I
you,
was 16.
okay, because you know what? They allow you to do that when you're 16 when they don't have an adult room.
Yeah. Well, and I like didn't go to traditional high school. I got kicked out when I was 16. Um, and that's a little backstory on Mary Kate. And so I had to just start working. So it was awesome because that's where I worked. But yeah, I was young. I started working really young. But
I
that was,
remember hearing Quentin Tarantino first job,
yeah.
ever. He worked at a theater, and he hated it
God, that
because
explains a lot.
he hates porno,
How
you know,
funny.
and he doesn't like he had no interest in it whatsoever. So it was like getting his first job was getting a job working for, the movies that he just can't stay. Like he
Yep.
thought it would be so great to be an usher at a movie theater, but not like a porno
Not like
theater,
that one.
Yeah. And then he obviously became a video store guy, and I think
Yeah.
that and Kevin Smith being one and showing Clerks. I think that was what like inspired me
Yeah.
to do it. I was like, that actually looks like a cool job. Because my first job was working at an Italian restaurant as a dishwasher at
Oh,
14,
wow.
and I wasn't
Wow.
even supposed to do it.
Yeah.
But like we did it under the table. They didn't even give me an application or anything because
Yeah.
I was too young. I wasn't even supposed to do it, but they needed a dishwasher. Hated it. It was
Yeah.
probably the most boring job in the world. And it was a lot of like go, 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 go. And
Quick.
I am not a quick guy. This is why I got into the film business. It's you can be quick, but most of the time you take your
Yeah.
time and you make sure you get things,
Right.
right and
Yeah.
everything. So, I that's what I prefer,
Yeah.
that's my style. I'm not, that's why I tried working fast food, didn't like it,
Yeah.
just not for me. Um,
No.
but I love fast food workers. So, but so yeah, so let's talk about the story of Clue. So it's
Yes.
based on the board game, and basically the story is a bunch of, a bunch of random people that don't know each other, never met before in their life, are gathered together because they've been blackmailed in one way or another by Mr. Body.
Hmm.
And each one ends up like it becomes a murder mystery because and almost as like a slasher.
Hmm.
Do you like think that way? Like when there's the part where like Yvette gets killed and then all these certain people get killed, like stabbed in the back and
Yes.
everything. You're
Yeah.
like,
It's pretty
Jesus.
intense for
Yeah.
what it is, for being campy. Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't it like PG as
Yeah,
well? It's
probably.
PG.
Yeah, I
Because
know.
back then they didn't have PG-13. This would have been a PG-13 movie, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
I mean, too much violence.
Yeah.
And definitely today's audience could almost be R, in
Yeah.
today's audience, thing. Very adult jokes and
Yeah.
things. But
Yeah,
anyway,
well, the Yvette alone.
that yeah, with her like sexiness and everything. Good for Colleen Camp. I used to have this huge crush on her. I didn't know who she was and everything, but she's been in a bunch of, I think if I'm correct, she was like in the Police Academy movies and stuff.
Oh, maybe so. I'm
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
yeah, she was like a big like sort of name in there. And now she's a little on the heavier side, but like kind of when you get into adult age, like that kind of happens.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Like but yeah, she was in Wayne's World.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she's been in some stuff. Which
Oh,
Wayne's
wow.
World? It's just one. Unless she was in both, but I think she was only in one. I mean, she was in a lot because I mean she looked really good back then.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
she was a knockout.
Hmm.
Yeah. So she was in. Was it first or second? I think it was the second. So she was in the second Police Academy. Um, when was it their first assignment, and she was Tackleberry's girlfriend.
Oh,
So
okay.
she wasn't like the girl that like Mahoney would be interested
Hmm.
in or whatever each time, but she was the one like Tackleberry sort of, and like Tackleberry was such a weird character. Like he liked guns and everything. I think she did too. That was the thing they bonded over,
That's
that
funny.
stuff. And yeah, and she was great in that. But the Police Academy movies are some of my favorites too.
Yeah, they're
You
pretty
know,
funny.
um, and I don't think any of them could be on Hollywood Knockbusters, so I'm gonna have to do that on another one of the shows. Because I think all of them made money, unless like the last few maybe
Maybe didn't. Yeah.
didn't make as much money, but they didn't care. They made enough where they would just keep making stuff. She was also
Hmm.
in Valley Girl with Nicolas Cage. Did you ever see that movie?
No, I don't think so. I'm gonna have
I
to look that one up.
I saw it sort of recently, like I think in the last 5, 6 years,
Okay.
and I fell in love like
Oh
uh
my gosh, cute. Nicolas Cage looks adorable. Oh my
He's
God.
he plays like I think a high school kid or something in
That
that
is
one.
so cute. She's from the Valley. He's not. Oh my gosh, that's adorable. I don't know why I've never watched that before.
Yeah, and she played Sarah Richmond. I don't remember her in it, but I
Yeah.
remember Deborah Foreman because she's the lead.
Yeah.
Um
Adorable.
oh wow, she's in a movie I came up with the title for. I did not know there was another movie called this. Trial by Terror.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I'm sure it's different than what I was planning to make, so um let's see. She was in the movie Daryl. Oh wow. That's
Hmm.
a Daryl. I think that's gonna be a Hollywood blockbuster because I think that bombed very bad. Yeah, it was a $10 million budget and only made 7 million, so
Oh
that's
wow.
going on our show at some point.
Yeah.
But she was on My Blue Heaven, Wayne's World #1 as Mrs. Vanderhoff, and Last Action Hero.
Wow, really?
Jeez. Die Die Hard with a Vengeance? Wait. Was she in the original
Wow.
Die Hard? Because like
Oh,
I
that's
remember
amazing.
that name. No,
Hmm.
she wasn't, but she was in Die Hard with a Vengeance and um so she's been in a lot of stuff. Like oh, another one I can't wait to do sometime. I don't know if it did bomb. I think it bombed or it's gonna be on one of the other new shows I'm doing coming up. Yeah, it made 13 million, so I don't know if that's a bomb. I think that was a hit for this movie. But there's a movie called Greedy, with
Oh,
Michael J. Fox,
yes.
where like everybody's trying to basically kill or like wait for this guy to die so that they could get the
Yes.
inheritance and everything.
Mhm.
There's a lot of, but um, it's a movie
Wow,
that not
she's in a
many people
lot.
talk about.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, so she's been in a lot. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. So I don't want to go into everything.
Yeah.
She's had
She's
quite a
awesome
career.
though. That's great. I
Yeah,
love her accent. It kills me.
I just love that scene where where Mrs. Peacock is like, is there a bathroom around here? And
I know.
she's like, oui. And he's like, no, I just need to powder my nose. Because,
Yeah, it's good
oui,
stuff.
madame. You know, she was,
Oh.
she was great. I loved her. She was one of my favorite characters in that.
Yeah, yeah. They
Um,
all are so funny. Like that's something like they're all very endearing in their own way and they just like it's so campy. And I know a lot of people like don't like it, but
hmm
they watched it as adults and not as kids. And some people like campy stuff and some people don't. But I just love them and I love each character. And Tim Curry is so amazing. I don't think he's ever made anything that I don't like.
Yeah, so there's this like meme that goes around that says, you know a lot about a person by what Tim Curry movie that they first like think about. Like if you
Yes.
think of the name Tim Curry, like,
Yes.
what movie
Absolutely.
comes to
Which one
mind?
is it?
And I don't know which one would come to mind. I don't know if it'll be Home Alone 2 or if
See,
it'll be
that's
Rocky Horror,
yeah.
you know?
So he's always been the cheese pizza guy to me, always, because he's like cheese pizza, when he opens the door of the limo or whatever. And so, because I saw that first as a kid, so he was always the cheese pizza guy, and I love him to pieces. And then I saw everything else and just loved it. He's even in the Muppet Treasure Island. I don't know if you've,
That's
yes,
right. He's Long John
yes,
Silver, isn't
he's
he?
long,
Yeah.
yes, and he does such a good job. Like
So
I
weird.
love it, and the singing with the Muppets, and like it's so funny.
I
But that's
have that on Blu-ray because I went on this like Muppet Disney
yes.
spree buying a bunch. So, and I got them a lot of them from like there was a like sort of a rewards thing where you could get
So
if
their
you
movie club is
yeah, the
done.
movie club.
It's done, which is sad.
Right.
Yep, it's done. It was because I was a member of it too, and I bought a bunch of movies from them. And I think it was recently, like within 4 or 5 months, they closed it, and I was crushed because I'm like, well, there goes
Well,
old Yeller.
Disney's such well, you can see it on like Disney Plus, I think. I think
Yeah,
Old
but
Yeller's
they get to
probably on there.
decide what they take on and off.
Well, they've done that since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
They were one of the people who would uh they would sell
Oh yeah,
they would
they're
sell
in
like
the vault
Cinderella. Yeah,
movies.
they're in the
Yes.
vault. So they put stuff in the vault, then they
Yeah,
bring it back out
which is bull.
and
Yeah.
then you have to spend like $30 on it, whatever.
Yep.
And they
Or wait
charge
another
an arm
10
and a
years.
leg for their
Yeah.
movies. And so now um Sony
Hmm.
is it owns their like DVD like their physical media stuff is running their stuff.
Oh.
So Sony is in control of that now because
Oh.
I don't know who was in charge of their physical media, but apparently they were just not whatever doing well. The
Is that why
problem
they closed that movie club? Did they recently
probably
sell that to Sony?
I don't think they sold it to Sony because I don't think Sony's bringing it back. I think they just got
Oh.
rid of it once they started selling all their property to
Yeah, they just
Sony.
acquired the, yeah.
Yeah, they acquired the stuff. So you're gonna probably see a lot more uh 4Ks and Blu-rays of like the Disney movies
Oh, I hope so.
And the Fox movies because they
Yeah.
own the Fox ones too. So
I hope
uh
so. There's a lot of old ones that they never released, like the Halloween specials. And I don't
yeah.
know why they never released them, and it always pissed me off because like the 80s, the Halloween treat, it's never been on DVD. I have a pirated copy that somebody like, got off of like whatever. I don't even know. It's terrible. But I've always wanted them to bring them out on DVD. Why? Why not? You know?
And that movie club, some movies you could only get through the movie club,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So
That's why I believe
I
it.
went out and actually bought this movie called Shipwrecked that
Yeah.
I love that movie to death. And then I bought was that shoot there's Shipwrecked and then there's like Mr. Boogedy.
Oh,
Uh,
yes, yes, yes.
yeah,
Yes.
so
It's a
I
scary one. Yeah.
yeah,
Like
the
kid
scary
scary,
ones.
but yeah.
It's but I actually rewatched it with a friend of mine because we did it for What the F Friday,
Yeah.
and because it is a weird freaking kids movie.
Yeah.
It's a ghost that says boogity boogity boo, and then
Yeah.
he
It's kind
shoots
of
things at
creepy.
you or whatever. But it's just weird for kids. Like you like think like what in the world is going on here? Why are kids watching this thing? I watched it with my friends who lived across the street from me. We were just because they had Disney and I didn't. My parents did pay for Disney, so the only time we could watch Disney is if Disney put out like one of those special previews for the
Yes.
weekend or whatever.
Hmm.
And so that was the only time I could watch it. But other than that, I'd have to go over to my friend's house and we'd
Yep.
watch Mr. Boogedy and all these things that. And I remember actually that movie, the second one, Bride of Boogedy, scared me. And I was like walking home like across the street
Oh,
and all
yeah.
in the dark, and I was just like,
That's
oh man, I don't know if Mr. Boogedy is coming after me or not.
yeah. You're like, oh, no,
Funny.
thanks.
It was fun, but it was weird because like a movie like that scared me. Like really, I must have been
Yeah.
like a scaredy cat. I don't know. But but anyway, yeah, those things. So I think that you will start to see stuff. I'm hoping like Three Men and a Baby and all
Yes.
these other ones get a re-release and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And a lot of the, I think Shipwreck needs a Blu-ray because that it didn't have a Blu-ray. I don't think it just had a DVD. So if they
Mhm.
could put those out on Blu-ray and oh, and the one I really, really want is Not Quite Human, which hasn't got a release at all. You know.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. You
Wow.
remember that one?
Yes.
I want them to remake that because it's perfect
Yeah.
for the years of AI.
Yeah,
Like this
absolutely.
is to have
Oh,
somebody create a son,
yeah.
that
I'm gonna have to rewatch that. Oh, that's giving
it's
me a
on YouTube. I watched all three of them on YouTube. Well, parts one and two. I didn't get a chance to watch the third one yet.
wow.
That's kind of my least favorite. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's why I've been pushing it off because
Yeah.
I just don't. It's like Turtles 3. A lot of the threes, Home Alone 3. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of ones I just don't. You
No.
know.
Yeah, me either. Why bother?
But number twos are sometimes still just as good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Clue never got a sequel because it bombed.
No.
So
Yeah.
unfortunately but it is being remade. Did you know that?
No.
By Ryan Reynolds.
What?
So I don't know what they're gonna do, if they're gonna keep it with the same storyline. I doubt it.
Oh
I don't
my
think there's gonna be a
God.
Wadsworth. I think there's just but yeah, if you look up Clue, Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. You looking it up right now?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Ryan Reynolds and Jason Bateman together.
Whoa.
It's in development right now, so it hasn't started
Wow.
filming yet, but I'm hoping by 2026 we get it, you know.
Wow.
Should have been this year because that would be what it's
Yeah, it
actually
says
not
Clue
that
2026 on it on this thing.
it is 40 years old. Isn't that crazy?
Don't
It's
say those things.
1985 and now it's 2025. I didn't even plan that. Like I think I planned this for another podcast and then I looked into it and I was like, oh crap, it didn't. Like I
It
think I
just
was gonna
came
do it
over.
for Hollywood's hidden gems. And then I
Mm-hmm.
was like, this isn't really hidden. Like a
No.
lot of people know this movie.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, if it can't fit that one, and it's definitely not a forgotten,
Yeah.
one. So like where, what could I do it for? And I was like, let me see if it bombed in the box office and I could do it for this, or I'd have to do it for Film Freaks if I did it for something else.
Yeah.
And no, this was a bomb, which kind of shocked me a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I always remember everybody talking about it, but I think that's what happens.
Yeah.
And some of my favorite movies were bombs in the box office, but did very well on video.
Yeah.
Mallrats,
Yeah.
that was a bomb in the box office, like biggest bomb
Yeah.
probably in all of Kevin Smith's career. Like, even some of his newer stuff isn't nearly as bad as the bomb that happened because
Wow,
it's
that's so
been
crazy because everyone loves that movie.
right. And that's the thing, that's how I discovered Kevin,
Yeah.
right? And stuff became my one of my favorite writers and stuff.
Yeah.
So I just and directors, but he is, but that's the thing. Like, you're you look into this and you're like, wow, this is weird that
Hmm.
this movie uh like bombed because
Yeah.
everybody talks about Clue,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
wonder if it's just because you have to like have played it in order to appreciate it. And maybe, I don't
Well,
know.
I think it's the same reason as why my dad's never watched it. My dad was talking to him. I said, I'm going to be doing Clue at some point for to talk about on the show, and he was like, "Why? Like, why would you buy that? Why would you watch that?" And I said because it's a fun movie.
Yeah,
He
because
goes,
it's
"It's
awesome.
based on a board game,
Yeah.
and they're making Monopoly into a movie. I don't know how that's going to work. It
Wow,
sounds
that's kind of cool. I want to see the Monopoly guy. You know what I mean? With the big
who
I
could
want to
play?
see.
Who could play him? I'm
I don't know.
Jim Carrey."
No, I wouldn't want him to do that because the Monopoly guy is so like round. You know what I mean? He's super, super cutesy. And I feel like they did with Sonic, you know,
Yeah, with
I
the
don't, I,
mustache and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because I
No, I
think they kind
don't
of made
think,
fun of him. But
yeah,
he also had a great line in Ace Ventura 2 where he saw
yes.
the guy, sees the guy, and he's like, "You must be the Monopoly
Monopoly
guy."
guy, yes. Yes, that is,
Uh,
that's pretty funny.
Ace Ventura 2, did that do well? Because like they never made a part three.
I
So
don't
I
think it did. That's the bat guano one, right? Yeah.
bet droppings.
Bat dropping. Yeah,
Yes,
that one
that's
I think is my favorite.
I know it's funny, and I think that did not do well in the box office
Oh.
because I don't know why it. Nope, it did incredibly well.
Oh,
Um, $30 million budget, and it made
wow.
$212 million. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely not a knockbuster. It's
No.
just I think maybe Jim Carrey was just like, I want to
Wanted to do
do
something else.
more original stuff like Liar Liar and
Hmm.
some of my favorite movies, but he just didn't want to be Ace Ventura for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
So I'm I mean, I don't know how much friends, I am, but I do know and I've interviewed and I have met one of the writers for Sonic,
Oh, cool.
um Patrick Casey and Josh Miller, who aka Worm Miller, that was his
Yeah.
original thing. Those guys I've had on my radio show since like a long time because I would interview them about their movies, Dorm Days, and all these other Hey Stop Stabbing Me, all these movies from back in the day. And then I met Patrick when I went up to visit LA and stuff. I just asked him if he wanted to come out, and he's like, sure. So he came out,
That's
met with
cool.
me and my friend Tina, and we're all chilling, talking, and everything. It was so cool because like it didn't feel like, oh my God, this is the guy that's about to do, because at that time he didn't do Sonic yet, but he was going to,
Yeah,
like, got attached to it. But it was like here's this dude I admired, or whatever, when we were friends and chilling.
yeah,
Um, but
awesome.
they were up to do Ace Ventura 3. They were gonna do the new
Oh,
Ace
wow.
Ventura. And unfortunately that just never came to
Yeah, never
fruition.
happened.
And yeah, it sucks. Hollywood
Yeah.
is tough because like one minute they'll be interested in something and then next minute they'll be like, nah, I don't think people want this yet,
Even though people want it.
I know.
Yeah,
Or maybe it's that Jim Carrey just hasn't found a script he wants.
yeah.
It's the same thing with Bill Murray. Bill Murray for a long time kept turning down Ghostbuster stuff,
Oh,
and everything because he
it just
just,
wasn't good enough.
yeah, and he didn't like Ghostbusters too, but I think he just got too much
Really?
flack about not doing it, that I think he just got sort of,
I'm
you know,
surprised because it like showcases his character a lot more.
I think maybe that might be one of the reasons
Oh,
like
why?
he did it,
No.
but or whatever, or that maybe like one of the things he kind of said, like, okay, but if you look at, and somebody pointed this out to me, and I now every time I watch Ghostbusters 2, I'm gonna notice it. But Ghostbusters 2 is the same movie as Ghostbusters 1. It's the exact same beat for beat. The beginning,
Yeah.
they're not Ghostbusters, and then they get arrested or whatever. Well, in the second one they got arrested. In the first one, they uh they did do the thing, and they beat the ghost, and then they're now back on top, and then
Yeah.
the thing takes over the god. It's a
Yeah.
god again. It's not another just ghost. And so there's just so much,
I
with
feel like
that
they're kind of all that way because even the new Paul Rudd ones have that similar like
formula.
formula, but you know what? I love it.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I'm a big fan of the newest ones. I like
Me
it. I
too.
like the new one, like the Frozen
The
Empire,
Frozen
a
one,
little
yes,
better. Yeah, a little bit
yes,
better, but I still like the new ones. I still
yeah,
like
yeah,
everything. I think Jason Reitman, who is Ivan Reitman's son,
yeah.
knows how to do it. Hold on one second. My dog's trying to get out.
Yeah, you're fine. You're totally fine.
He was stuck. He couldn't figure out how to
Oh, it's
how to open the
okay.
door, so he's just like trying his hardest because he needs to go downstairs. So I'm like, you know,
That's
open
okay.
up the door for him. But yeah, so I don't know. I think to go back to Clue, because
Yes,
we do this a lot. I think we do this for many of the stuff. We go on little tangents
yes, little
and talk about
tangents,
stuff
but that's
that
okay.
have nothing to do with the thing.
It's okay.
Um, but interestingly enough, if you look at this, I don't know if you can see it.
Yes, which is like the mansion picture with all of them
Right.
in the doorway. Yes.
And it shows every, like, on here it says lounge. This is where the lounge is. This is where the, you know,
Oh, how
dining
cute.
room, ballroom and stuff. It's
Oh,
got like little
cute.
lines. And then it also says like Mrs. Peacock and,
Oh,
because, and it goes, was it Colonel Mustard, Mrs. Peacock in
cute.
the lounge, billiard room, conservatory with
The
the
Blu-ray
lead
doesn't
pipe,
have that
knife,
on there. Yeah, the
It's so,
Blu-ray's different. It's a yellow cover. It's
oh.
boring, super boring.
Well, there you go. You got to get the 4K, even though you don't have one. But it
Yeah.
does have the Bluray in it, so you would get the Blu-ray
See, I should
again.
have just opted for that. Oh well, dang it.
That's more expensive, so I
Yeah.
mean, it's the more expensive option. But
I'm just glad I have it now because I didn't own it before. I owned it on VHS, but I didn't own the DVD or whatever now. So I'm glad that we did this. So I have it.
do you
So,
still have the old VHS or no?
no, probably not. I have a lot of Disney ones still. Like I have the original Little Mermaid, like bad one. Um, but a lot of stuff when I got kicked out got thrown away. So that was in it. But you know,
Yeah, when I think my dad got rid of all the Betamax and stuff when we got rid of our Betamax,
yeah.
right? And I'm like thinking, it's a
Dang.
lot of that's a
Yeah.
lot of cool stuff we could have had still,
Yep.
like I could have bought a Betamax player and put it on my TV and stuff
Yep.
like that. Because I'm trying to get other format players and stuff.
Hmm.
Like I have a 4K, but I want to get like an HD DVD. I want to
Hmm.
get all these kind of things. And we have a VHS at the studio. We don't really use as much, but
Still
you know,
good to have those for
yeah.
sure.
Well, sometimes there's only some movies that are
Hmm.
only available on VHS.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it's like kind of sucky, in
Hmm.
that, we wish there was more, but what can you do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all you can do is hope that these companies, these boutique labels like Shout Factory and everything, they'll start releasing the movies on Blu-ray and DVD and I mean not
Hmm.
DVD, Blu-ray and 4K and
Yeah.
whatever else comes next. Because I'm
Yeah. The
hoping it's
better
not
ones.
for another like 5 more years or something. Another thing comes along because I'm still working on my library for my 4K,
Hmm.
if there's another 8K player, 24K player by the time, I'm gonna be like, oh God, really? Like
Yo.
you have to get another TV and
Yeah.
it's just a big pain in the
Yep.
butt. And some people still haven't even transferred over to 4K. Like you said
Hmm.
you haven't transferred over to 4K. Some people haven't even done that. So it's like, you know, it's like video games. The newest one's going to be obsolete,
Absolutely.
in like 2 years, or phones,
Hmm.
you know. Then I keep my phone for as long as I possibly can, but then it comes with problems,
Yep.
So
Yeah.
technology, man,
I
like
know. Too
keeps
fast.
getting, yeah, too fast, too quick. Like, dudes, just give us some breathing time before you like, you know.
Well, they're planning it that way. They're like, every 2 years, we're going to make them cough up a bunch more dough.
Well, it's funny because movies are not like that. So
Yeah.
like they used to be where like Clue would probably play in the theater for like 3 to 6 months,
Hmm.
or whatever, and then go on DVD like, it feels like a year later,
Yeah.
whatever and stuff and or VHS or whatever it was. But now it's like they do it for like 3 weeks and then
Yeah.
they want to get it on like Mufasa, which came out in December, already came out this month. That's
Yeah.
2 months later or
Yeah.
even less. So I'm
Yeah.
like,
Sometimes, like, we'll have movies here at our local theater that we can watch on Prime too at the same time concurrently. Like, they're still playing them here in the theater and you can watch them on Prime. And I'm like, what? What?
yeah,
So,
it's weird. We live in a weird world right now where streaming is king, but
yeah.
you can't stream Clue.
No.
No, there's no place to stream it. So not
Yep.
everything is streaming. So
Nope.
like I get really frustrated. I'm like, you can't, if you can't stream everything, then we need physical media.
Yeah,
We need,
absolutely. Or there'll be things that are lost. And who's to
yeah.
decide if they'll be gone?
And hopefully there's these companies that like Shout
Yeah.
Factory or Vinegar Syndrome or Kino Lorber or somebody comes along. Like Kino's been weird because they used to be sort of, have more like the prestigious, stuff or whatever. And now all of a
Yeah.
sudden they'll have Turbulence.
Oh, how
Just
funny.
like, yeah,
You're like, what?
or I think Dante's Peak, things like
Oh,
that.
how
You're like,
funny. I
you're
loved
like,
that movie.
right? But like things like that. And you're like, wait a minute. Like, why is Dante's Peak,
Yeah.
mixed in with like Charlton Heston movies from like the 40s,
Yes,
or
that's
something, like
from
that's
with
just,
Ben-Hur.
yeah, Ben-Hur, or well, Ben-Hur's more the popular ones. I would say even lesser known Charlton
Yeah.
Heston movies that you've never heard of.
Yeah.
Um, that used to be their thing,
Thing.
and stuff. And now I think they've gotten so big with stuff that they're just like, let's
Uh,
put out,
Throw
you know,
Dante's Peak in there.
Dante's Peak. Or, you know, man, I would love the same company to do Volcano,
Yeah.
and then you can have a double feature, like,
Yes.
Blu-ray of both of those
Yeah.
together. I'd watch that
Yep.
because remember that was what they did. Like they did those and then Armageddon and Deep Impact, I
Yes.
do that,
Absolutely. Yep.
fought each other, and I'm just like, Hmm. You
Yeah.
know, like those are two very similar movies.
They did that for a while where one would come out and then right after that, a super similar movie would come out with just a tiny little bit of a plot difference. But I feel like
Well,
that was a trend for a little while.
it wasn't just a trend because I think it still sort of happens. It's just not as easily noticed. But
Mhm.
like Hollywood likes to steal from each other,
Yeah,
because they know if this movie's going to do well, then this movie's going to do well, right?
absolutely.
So they want to get there. So one studio will be like, let me do a
Piggyback on the
superhero
other.
movie. Then the other one's like, let me do a superhero movie that's similar and stuff
Hmm.
because that's what the audience wants right now. And the
Yeah,
problem is the audience wanted the first one,
yeah.
but they don't want the second one and stuff. And there's a movie out there called Doctor Strangelove or how I whatever
Doctor Strangelove, yeah.
learned how to love the bomb. Um and have you ever seen Doctor Strangelove or
So, I mean, I've heard of it. I don't remember if I really ever saw any of it or not.
hmm
But I totally remember the title, you know
yeah.
what I mean? But I don't remember if I watched any of it or not.
Doctor Strangelove had there's a movie that came out the same exact time, same exact plot.
Oh no.
And it was yeah, because I think there was a one was based on a book and the other was based on something else, like another maybe they got inspired by the book or
Yeah.
something. Doctor Strangelove was done by Stanley Kubrick, and Stanley
Yes,
Kubrick was
that's right.
like,
It's a Kubrick movie.
yeah,
Yes.
it's a Kubrick movie, and uh Kubrick was like, uh, we got to go first because
Yeah.
the other one is is was serious, very serious. And Doctor Strangelove is not very serious
Yeah.
and stuff. So the first one was done by Sidney Lumet, who I love. I think he's a great director. He's done like 12 Angry Men and
Oh wow.
um yeah, he's done a lot of great stuff. Serpico and all the Dog Day Afternoon, things like that.
Mhm.
But he did this movie, it's called Failsafe. And Failsafe was basically the same plot of
Oh,
Doctor
how
Strangelove,
weird.
but
But
uh
it's serious.
but serious instead of comedy. So
Yeah.
when Stanley Kubrick was like, we gotta go first because this is gonna depress people, and then when ours comes out and it's the similar story, people are not gonna wanna,
Yes.
well, the problem is they went first and the failsafe went second, and then everybody didn't go see didn't like failsafe because they were like, this isn't funny. Like they're expecting it to be
Oh, how
like
sad.
similar or whatever,
Yes.
and this one was like more depressing because it was the exact same idea of like, the what if the Pentagon or whatever had like a failsafe or for that stuff,
Oh, okay.
and so they even say, I think they even say the word failsafe in Doctor Strangelove, so it's so
Oh,
similar. It is
oh, that's
so similar.
terrible. That's
Best line
funny.
in that whole movie is there's no fighting in the war room.
Oh, how great.
Yeah, there's some great Peter Sellers stuff and all these.
Oh, Peter Sellers is in it.
Yeah, I think it was
That's
Peter
the
Sellers.
Pink Panther.
I wanna
Oh,
say
I love him.
I don't wanna get that wrong because Paul
Yeah.
will kill me, my buddy Paul. That is Kubrick's his favorite director, and I've
I'm
watched.
sure it's Peter
It's
Sellers.
Peter Sellers, and he plays multiple roles in the
That,
movie.
of course, that's great.
Um,
Oh yeah, I loved the Pink Panther movies.
George C. Scott, Sterling Hayden. I mean, it's got Slim Pickens, James Earl Jones. It's got a great
Oh
cast.
wow.
So,
Wow.
but the other one's got Henry Fonda,
Oh
and
wow.
stuff, and some other people. So, I
Yeah,
mean, both are great movies. But yes, Doctor
that's
Strangelove
hilarious.
is sort of a better movie if I had to choose which one I'd
Yeah.
rather watch. Because it's not as depressing and sad. But
Hmm.
Failsafe is such a great movie because it's very, it's a very, whatever. But it's no Clue.
Hmm.
Clue is probably, I mean, I swear to God, it's one of my favorite comedies. Is
Yeah.
it and I was talking to somebody today about Clue because they didn't know if the movie
Yeah.
existed either. A lot of people don't. So maybe it is. Like some people
Maybe it
don't.
is.
Maybe it is a hidden gem,
Yeah.
but I really don't. I mean, so many people, if you bring up Clue, people know know it. Like I did quote and put it on Facebook, the quote um that Miss um It was Miss White, Miss Scarlet,
Yes.
Miss Scarlet, right? Is that her name?
So Miss White is the lady in the black coat.
Okay, yeah. So Miss White said well, I think was it Wadsworth, said
Yes.
your first husband also disappeared. It's like that was his job. He was an
Yeah. He
illusionist.
was an illusionist. Yeah.
And then she's like, but he never reappeared. He wasn't a very good
He wasn't a
illusionist.
very good illusionist.
And people laughed and whatever. So I don't know how many people nobody said anything,
Oh,
but
how funny.
but I wonder how many people
Even know what
recognize
it's from.
that, like recognize where that's from, because
Mhm.
I didn't write Clue. I didn't give them a
Oh,
clue.
how
You know?
funny. That's great. Oh yeah,
Yeah, so
I haven't logged on and seen that yet, but that's
yeah.
funny.
Well,
That's
I mean, and I just did that literally because I was watching it, and that quote was so good. I mean, there's so many great lines in there. A lot
yeah.
of it being very adult.
Yes.
Um, that whole story. I don't think when I watched the movie as a kid, I don't think I got any of what the
Yeah,
movie
like the
was about.
blackmail and the yes, and the
I mean,
military guy and the brothels and yeah.
but I knew if there had black male involved. But so let's go into it. So Mr. Body
Yes.
is blackmailing these people. Why did Wadsworth like set this whole thing up? I think no,
So
he
I
says
think
it
isn't Wadsworth Mr. Body?
so that who
Or is
was
that the fourth one that they don't because I know
yeah,
that an ending where he is Mr. Body, right?
I
Is
think
that
he
not
was the actual Mr. Body or
yeah.
something. But that's not all like most of the time and most of the endings, because there was what, three or four endings
Yeah,
or
there was
something.
four.
Yeah, and one of them, or three of them were other people, so that weren't the killers,
Yes, yes.
and stuff. So,
One of
uh,
them, it's all of them, right? Everybody's guilty of killing somebody.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's funny because the cool thing about the 4K, I don't know if they do this for your Blu-ray or not, but they have a thing where it says three different surprise endings.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so but there's also ones where it will just be one ending.
Where they mash it all together.
Well, no,
Yes.
no. I mean, well, yeah. So mash it all together, or one where it just picks an ending for you.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And so that's what they did in the theater.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, and
Absolutely. You didn't know which one you were going to
you
get,
didn't know which one you were gonna get,
which
which
is
would,
cool.
which is cool, but would suck if you spent money and you got like the same one again.
Same. Yeah,
And
true.
then you're like, I wanted a different one because you don't
Yeah.
know. It's a
Hmm.
surprise. So they
It
do
made it so true to the game, which is so cool because every time you play, it's a different killer.
right. You have no idea, but
Nope.
in the video when you bought it, you got all three endings or
Yeah.
four endings, whatever it was. So, I think it was three endings.
So I think
So,
there's a fourth one that I want to say maybe they didn't put it on this one.
because it says three different surprise endings. So
There.
I'm not sure.
I think
Um,
it was where he did it all. Let me see. There was a fourth ending shot, but subsequently dropped from the film due to the fact that the director didn't like it. Oh, that's interesting. It
yeah.
appears in the storybook of Clue.
Didn't
Huh.
this director, Jonathan Lynn, didn't he do My Cousin Vinny? Am I wrong about that?
No, I think so.
So he was the writer of Clue,
Yes,
Nuns on
director.
the Run.
Yeah.
So that goes back to my Nuns on the Fun, but Nuns on the
Yes,
Run.
Nuns on the Run. Oh
That
man, he did so much. A Few Good Men. Oh no, that's Rob Reiner.
no,
Why is
that's Rob Reiner. But did he have something to do with My Few Good Men or something?
I
Or
don't know. It said see also underneath him, so maybe.
he was an actor.
Oh, maybe he was in that.
No, he wasn't in that. It
Oh.
doesn't look like, cause but he was an actor. No, because he stopped acting. Well, it
Oh
says he.
man, Joe Pesci's looks so old. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
wow, he did Greedy, that movie I was talking about. So
Hmm.
interesting. Um, and he did three. Mm.
82 years old. Joe Pesci is 82 years old. How is that?
I saw this video and it was like it was the dumbest video. Like I hate Facebook now because like
Oh,
though people just post stupid
stupid.
stuff, but like it was them talk this lady talking to a guy that she thought looked like Joe Pesci and she
Oh,
wasn't sure, but she was talking to him, interviewing him, and the guy was pretending to be Joe Pesci or whatever, but he didn't sound anything like him. He didn't really look
yeah.
like him. So she got some people who were Joe Pesci, people who knew who Joe Pesci was to go look and confirm or whatever. And I was just like, what am
Oh,
I
how
watching?
weird.
What am I watching? Like this is
Yeah.
weird. Oh man, so he's done some good stuff. So he did Clue, then he did Nuns on the Run in 1990. Did My Cousin Vinny, which is like, if he doesn't do anything else, like
That was
period,
the
that was
pinnacle.
that
Yeah.
was yeah. Then after that, he did a movie that I am gonna put on one of my stuff. Let me see if it was a bomb. So I may have to put it on here. 'Cause I think it was a bomb, but it might have done well. Um, Weird. They're not okay. Yeah, it was a bomb because it was a $50 million budget, made only 46. So
Yeah.
yeah, I guess it'll be on here. It's called Distinguished Gentleman. It's
Oh,
where
that sounds
like
familiar.
was a con man played by Eddie Murphy discovers that a job that U.S. Congress is where the money is. Name recognition gets him elected. Will he develop
Oh,
a
yeah.
conscience? You know? So
Yeah.
I remember that. He did Sergeant Bilko. Do you remember that with Steve Martin?
Mm-hmm.
Trial and
Wow.
Error, the Michael Richardson movie, or Michael Richards movie.
He did a
Um,
lot.
yeah, he did a lot. I mean, he didn't do as many. Like he only directed 15, and he's still alive, so he's going to direct a couple other things in development.
Wow.
So,
Mm.
so hopefully, um, but it's just funny to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved
Mm.
what it, yeah, I think he was a fantastic director for this movie. Like this was
Mhm.
perfectly done. Like
Yeah.
even this scene where they shoot the chandelier
Chandelier.
and
Yes.
then
And it
you
almost
can
falls on the guy.
yeah, and he's like, but Colonel Mustard's like, I can't take any more of the,
Yes. And then
and just
bam.
yeah, it was great. Um so yeah, so like and there's a lot of adult themed stuff like with
Yeah.
the political stuff,
Hmm.
um the stuff with which feels so weird because like that's not in any of the board game stuff, so it's just stuff
No.
that they had to make
Yeah.
up to make this make sense.
Probably because of the blackmail. Because that's not
Yeah.
in the game either,
Yeah,
so
there's no blackmail.
no.
What is the point of the game? I mean, you have to figure out
So
who did
they
it,
don't
but
have a dinner party either.
right,
I'm gonna read the back and see.
maybe it tells you the story of
Yeah. Uh, yeah, it says the late Mr. Body's country manor has a total of 12 murder locations. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Now, it doesn't say any kind of a backstory.
it does mention Mr. Body though, so that's
Yeah, it does
interesting.
mention Mr. Body.
Which he's not a player in the game,
No,
so
because it's his house and he's already dead.
that's right. So, and you have to figure out who did it, right?
Hmm.
So each different time it could be a different person. And aren't you the person? Like you're one of you is the killer, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, one of the
So
people playing, yeah.
yeah, so one of the people playing and they know, right? Or do they not?
No, no,
Hmm.
because everyone shuffles out their cards. So all of the characters, all the locations, and all the murder weapons are shuffled out to everybody.
Hmm.
And then three of them are taken off of the top before you shuffle them out and put in the secret envelope. So
Hmm.
they're sitting off to the side, and that's the killer, the weapon in the room. And then everyone else gets shuffled out the rest of the cards. So you have them in your hand. So you could be playing like Mrs. White, but you don't have your own card. It could be in somebody else's hand, or it could even be in the envelope. And so I love the game so much because it's all about manipulation. It's
Hmm.
totally about manipulation. So when I was a kid, I was like so good at it. I still am really good at the game. and like my son totally picked up my like trick, and I hate it because I
No,
probably
he uses it against you, right? Yeah.
yes, yes. So he's the only one that can do it. Like if anyone plays with me, I'm always gonna win because I have this like strategy, but um you have to bluff. It's about manipulation and bluffing because you have to collect information, but you can't let everyone else get that same info. So you can't like grind out a room and be like always asking for a wrench because then you're going to know that I think it's the wrench. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
all about like misdirection. Like the second time you're in a room, you think it's the wrench, but you say candlestick to throw the other people off. You know what I
Right.
mean? So just terrible. But I loved it. I absolutely loved the gameplay of the game. It's so much fun.
Do you have like board game night or something or anything?
Kind of, yeah.
So, okay. So, what other games do you play?
So we have like an ungodly amount of board games. Like there's a like hallway closet full of them, and it's too full, and there's like a couple boxes. So we've got Monopoly, obviously, and we have like a really cool Monopoly that's like I don't know, it's like a fancy one. It's in like a wooden thing or whatever. Monopoly
Wow.
was like my favorite. It was super fun. Um, and then I mean, I don't know, we got tons of them. Trivia Pursuit, there's like the Genius Edition.
My family
Which,
and I used to have game night every once in a while. And
okay.
then my mom, unfortunately, before she
Yeah.
passed and everything,
Yeah.
she would they would play like Yahtzee and stuff
Yes,
like
we
that
have
all the time.
Yahtzee too.
Yeah, and then or my mom used to play bridge back in the
Oh,
day.
that's cool.
Yeah, I never played that or I didn't even never play Yahtzee with everybody. When they would do that, I'd go up to my room and just do stuff because I don't know. The only games I remember playing as a kid was like
Uh-huh.
Pictionary,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
picture good one.
and we never played Monopoly because it would
It's
take too
long.
long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's long.
because it's a long one. It's like it's a game you do if you have like time,
Yes.
you have like a whole day and you've got
Yeah.
nothing else
Like
to do.
holidays are really good for that. That's usually when we do it as like a holiday where like everyone's just like munching on food and in their pajamas all day anyway. And then we've got like an incredibly long game, but most of the time we have to pause it and come back to it another day because it takes too long.
Exactly. I just yeah, we would play I don't know, I don't know if we ever played Clue. I don't know if we ever had Clue.
Really?
That's the fun
Yeah.
thing because my dad was never into like murder mystery stuff. My mom
Yeah.
was. She used to read like all the Agatha Christie stuff,
Yes.
but she
Cool.
hated horror, which made no
Yeah.
sense to me because I'm like, isn't a murder mystery like a horror thing? People are dying and you have to solve the murder and that's what happens in
More
slashers.
psychological though, less visual, more
Yeah,
psychological. I get
yeah.
that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she liked that, but so she would read like Agatha Christie or my
That's
dad would read Robert B. Parker, which had a lot of murder and stuff. So
yeah.
but anyway, but yeah,
There's
I grew up.
another game that's really similar to Clue that I had also that was called 13 Dead End Drive. And
Yep.
yes, but it's almost like I don't want to say cooler because it's not. It's just different because it was 3D and you would set up all the traps and the deaths. And like one of them is like this big giant staircase. So you would build it almost like Mousetrap where the board is 3D. And so all like one of them, like the guy can get thrown into the fireplace. One of them, the guy falls down the stairs. I think there's a guillotine. And so it was super cool because you're playing the board game around and then you'd like wind up on the staircase and then your character would die that way or whatever. And then I think there's a chandelier too. And I have that one still too.
So there was one that we played that was similar sounding,
Uh-huh.
but it was a Sherlock Holmes one, and it was
Oh,
called
fun.
221 Baker Street.
Yes. Fun.
Yeah, so 221B Baker Street. And
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, so we would, we would do that or we would play Battleship or,
Battleship's a good one too.
you know, I never really liked Candyland as a kid. I
No,
never
yeah.
liked those things.
Shoots and
I
Ladders is another silly
shoots
one.
and ladders and stuff like that. Those are definitely for kids and I don't
Yeah.
know why, but I as a kid I just I wasn't as into them.
Mhm.
I liked Battleship, or I liked
Yeah.
you know,
What about
Monop
Connect Four?
Connect Four, Blockhead. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
No, I don't remember that one.
It was like it was kind of like pre Jenga, but you had to
Oh,
like there were blocks and you had to put the
yes,
blocks on one another, and
yes.
you'd have like thin ones or fat ones or
Oh, that's cool.
small ones, and you have to put them all. And if they toppled over, you lost and you were a
Yes,
blockhead. You
yeah,
know.
that's cool. I
So
love
yeah,
Jenga. Jenga's super fun.
yeah, I never got into Jenga, but because I did blockhead, so I
Blockhead, and that
think
was more fun. Yeah, we've
yeah,
actually made like a giant Jenga out of just big wood pieces. That's like massive, but it's fun, but it's kind of like dangerous because it gets really tall and then it like
yeah.
falls on you.
Well, there's a show on YouTube called Red Letter Media. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's
Mm-mm.
they review bad movies and stuff like that, like Indie Film Cafe does.
Yeah.
And they have a like videotape Jenga thing
Oh, how
where
fun.
they have like you have to like take off one of the tapes,
Oh, how
and if
fun.
all of them fall off, you lose, kind of thing. So you
Great.
watch these people play this game where they have to like I think Macaulay Culkin played it once.
Oh my gosh, how cute.
Yeah, yeah. He's he's come on Red Letter Media a few times, and
That's great.
well, it's because they're fans, so they just
Yes.
like ask if they can come out and be in it,
Yeah.
which I think is kind of cool. Jack Quaid's been in a few.
That's
Um,
super cool.
but yeah, but he's like Macaulay Culkin was like
Ooh,
pull it out, and it was so cool. Like it's a fun little thing, but like I'm like, damn, I wish I had thought of that. Like,
yeah.
and then they did the other one that's what's the thing that the blanket blank
Oh yeah,
blanket,
yeah.
right? And they do
Blanket or whatever.
yeah, and they do like something blanket something or whatever, and and you basically they have a whole bunch of videos, right? And then whatever ball when the ball lands on the one, they have to pick that movie to
Oh,
watch,
that's cool.
and everything.
Yeah.
So they do that, and uh they do that with the Jenga thing. So all the ones that they do pull out or whatever,
Uh-huh.
those are the ones that they have to watch,
That's
and
cool.
review and everything. And I'm like, that's a neat way to just pick things,
Yes.
randomly. You have no idea. A lot of them are video cassettes that sometimes aren't even labeled.
Oh wow.
So you have no idea what's on them.
Yes.
It could
That's
be a
cool.
recorded home video of
Yes.
somebody and you have no idea. So it's a really fun show. I always highly recommend it because Indie Film Cafe loves, the Red Letter Media. We sometimes do the same movies they do, and then
Yeah.
sometimes we will do the movies that even they won't review.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, I got into board games when I was a kid, but I didn't play as many of them, and I still don't. Like my niece and my brother will have like
Yeah.
game night every Wednesday night or whatever.
That's
And
cool.
yeah, and so they'll do like they'll try new board games out or whatever. And
We've tried some of the new ones, like the Exploding Kittens one. It's a card game, and it's actually like really funny.
that's fun.
Yeah, it's funny. It's not terrible. I know it sounds awful. It sounds terrible, but it's not that gross, but the title is gross. But it's just like funny. Like I think we have the zombie edition one. But it's kind of like I don't know, not necessarily Uno, but you like put certain cards down and there's like power cards and cards that will like trump everyone else's cards, and so it's strategic. It just sounds terrible and the cards are really funny looking.
Yeah, I think my niece said she just played like Taco versus Burrito or
Oh,
something.
okay, yeah, it's from the same people that do that one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
super, they're ridiculously sounding games, but they're entertaining as far as gameplay. But
I got my brother one for that stuff for Christmas,
uh-huh,
and it was um so I wanted to get this one called I Should Have Known That,
uh-huh.
which is a trivia game about things you ought to know
Yeah,
and stuff, and
I
I'm
love
guessing
trivia games. So fun.
yeah. So I was gonna get him that, but it got too expensive. for me at the
Yeah.
time. So I went and bought him something else. Ah, where was it? Because it was some. I'm trying to find it. It's a game based on a YouTube
Oh,
um song,
oh,
you
how
know.
funny.
And yeah, and I got really excited when I was like, "Oh my God, what is it? What is this?" And now I can't figure out. There's a Clue card game.
Oh,
What?
how funny.
Hasbro Gaming Clue card game, 3 to 4 strategy game. It's a travel game,
Oh,
I guess. So it's
how
only
that is.
$6 on Amazon. Actually, not a bad idea to get at
Hmm.
some point. Dang, where is it? Oh, there's one called New Phone. Who dis? What?
That's what the
I don't
hell.
know what that is about, but all right. Uh, what in the world? Is there anything else? Like, what was the one I did? Um, I think it was card game um, based on YouTube song. There can't be that many that are based on YouTube songs.
No, you wouldn't think so.
No, jeez, I'm not seeing anything. Am I crazy? Maybe it's not a card game. It was a board game. Game based on YouTube song. Um, no, this like no, these videos are YouTube videos. That doesn't work. Ah, maybe
Yeah.
I'll never know. Maybe I'll whatever. They played it apparently. Like I think my niece said, because my brother said he played it and he hated it. Like,
Oh,
no, they just didn't. It
yeah.
didn't work or whatever. So
Yeah.
you
That's all
know,
right.
it happens. It was something I just saw online. I was like, that looks cute.
Yeah.
And I like to I like to buy board games for people who play them.
Yes.
Suppose like if they bought me one, I don't know, I might start
Not.
playing some, but I just
Oh,
haven't, you know?
yeah.
Like everybody just buys me movies generally. And
Yeah.
they're afraid to because they don't know which ones I already
That's great.
have.
They're like,
So
I'm
like
sure you already have this, but
well, like my aunt would got me like one of Kevin Smith's movies that she didn't even know it was Kevin Smith. She didn't know whatever. She just saw
yeah.
the movie and it was the cop one he did and with Tracy Morgan and Bruce Willis. And I didn't buy it like
Uh-huh.
myself,
Wow.
so and I was happy that she bought it for me. So
Yeah.
I didn't have to get it because
Exactly.
it's
That's
one of the
so cool.
worst ones, but I'm happy to have it in my collection.
Yeah.
It's one of the worst Kevin Smith movies. It's not his fault. The
Yeah.
writing was not great and he didn't write it,
Yeah.
so if he wrote it, I bet it would be better dialogue and better scenes and
Yeah.
all that stuff. But anyway, so to go back to Clue, I have to keep kind of reining it
All
in.
right.
Who was your favorite character in this movie?
So it's funny. I think I would have to say it's Scarlett because I like her personality. Um, she's the brothel owner lady.
Hmm.
But also Tim Curry, you know what I mean, Wadsworth is fantastic because
I
it's
think
just
it's like everybody's favorite. So,
Mhm.
I think when I like yeah, I like Wadsworth, but I really liked well, I so
They're all great.
no,
Peacock is
it's
great too. She cracks me up with her feathers at dinner when she's talking, and when she talks, the feathers like talk with her. It kills me.
and I love how she's like, well, maybe we should get more acquainted with each other. And he's like, maybe, Scarlett's like, maybe he doesn't want to get more acquainted with you.
Yes,
And it just pisses off Peacock because she's just like, I'm
exactly.
here. What am I doing here? Like,
Yes,
what's going on? And I would feel the same way. Like,
yes.
um, I feel like I wouldn't have gone. I would
Yeah,
have been like,
probably
if
not.
you're
I
gonna
know.
blackmail me, just blackmail me.
Yeah.
Like whatever. I don't care at
Whatever.
this rate because, it we see how now this movie is probably a poster child for what not to do, right? Or
Yeah,
like make sure
exactly.
not to do it. So,
Yeah,
it's a pretty it's funny, but
it is.
I I mean it. It has some great humor. I do like the funny thing is like I like Michael McKean who played Mr. Green.
Yes.
Mr. Green, right? And there's
Hmm.
Christopher Lloyd,
Oh,
and this was the same year, I believe, as Back to the Future.
wow, really?
I think it was 1985, right? Yeah, because they had to get it
Oh, yeah,
home for
yeah, yeah.
1985.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Oh,
so yeah,
wow. Oh
that's
my gosh.
interesting. Like, I never even
Yeah.
thought about that. That Christopher Lloyd
Wow.
was in one of the
Oh,
probably the highest grossing movies at that
yeah.
year, at
Wow.
least, and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it, uh, so then yeah, so um, did you watch Cobra Kai? Do you watch that show?
No, the new one. Mm-mm.
Mm. And well, you don't
No.
watch them at all, or
No, I haven't watched them at all. I watched because I knew it's obviously from The Karate Kid, and I loved the original one. I didn't even see the remake of it.
oh well, you don't need
Yeah.
to.
No.
I only watched it because I had to because I was reviewing it.
Yeah.
You know,
I really don't get to a lot of time to watch stuff other than kids movies right now. So like with shows and stuff, I don't have time.
like what's your oldest?
Show? Oh, my old
No,
five. She's five. She's a
five. So
so I am very like Moana 2. I've seen it 100 times. I could tell you everything about that movie.
my niece and my great nephew were downstairs today watching Frozen,
There you go.
and I know her like stepkids or whatever are into like the girls are into Frozen and stuff. So I
Yeah.
was surprised to see that at least they said my great nephew said that he had never seen Frozen,
Wow.
and whatnot. So they were watching that, and it was kind of cute to watch during a time where everything is frozen,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Like that's a cute little. I
Yeah.
like watching winter stuff during the winter,
Hmm.
and spring stuff and summer stuff and fall
Yeah.
stuff during those times, or
Yeah,
whatever.
absolutely.
Especially fall. Fall is my favorite, like one of
Yeah.
my favorite seasons,
Me
probably.
too. Hmm.
It used to be summer, and then summer got too hot, and summer
Yeah.
gets too hot now. And so I'm like, I love hot.
Yeah.
I'd rather have hot than cold, but now I don't now I shouldn't complain at all when it gets too hot because I'm complaining more that it's freaking too cold.
Yeah.
You know, rather have it too hot than too cold.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so my yeah, when you look at all the movies that like especially Clue, when you watch something like this, I mean it's something that like will probably forever be on your mind. Like you'll probably remember. Like if you saw like I remember when I watched this with my friend, I was quoting, the line verbatims, you
Yes.
know, and everything. I don't know if you caught yourself doing that, but like you'll remember those lines or whatever,
Yes.
you know, and then things I never caught, and that was a lot of it was because it was I hadn't seen it since I was young
Hmm.
and 'cause I haven't watched this like I think I have a DVD of it, but I never like played it, you
Hmm.
know? And I remember like this used to be my movie I'd watch all the time, so I'm wondering if it's because I just don't have time because I'm watching a billion other movies,
Yeah.
or whatever. So,
Mm.
I only have time to watch movies I'm reviewing, it
Yeah.
seems. Unless and then if I watch something I'm not reviewing, I almost want to review it just so I feel like I didn't just sit around and waste my time, you know? Like I haven't seen that new Captain America movie yet.
Oh yeah, I haven't either. I thought about taking my oldest to it, but neither of us were really all that interested. I was like, oh, we
Really.
could, nah, no. So
And I know your husband's not into
horror
whatever
movies all that much?
horror
No,
movies.
no.
So, but is he into all the other movies or is he into
Yeah,
movies?
like action movies and stuff too. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say, because I tagged him in the horror thing. He was like, I don't do horror, buddy. I was like, oops, sorry, I know
I
that.
know that's why I put up that funny meme of like Jason and Freddy. Like this could be us, but you know, like
That was okay, because when I saw that, I was wondering if that was from that or if that was just a random thing
no,
of knowing that he doesn't
no.
watch it. That's funny. But
Oh,
it is funny because like uh those those like think there are people who love horror and
mhm.
then they get together with people who don't love horror. And I'm sorry, but I probably would never date somebody who didn't love horror. I
Yeah,
mean, just me personally, it's
yeah,
like just because that's pretty much like my life. So
yeah.
it feels like if they couldn't like sit around, if I had to watch it alone by myself every night, I even had my roommate Jackie, former roommate Jackie, into was not that into horror, but
Uh-huh.
she would watch it.
Yeah,
Like that wasn't her favorite genre at all, but she would watch it with me. Uh, Only the ones that aren't that scary.
yeah.
If it were like very scary, I don't think but I don't know, there's not really much that's very scary nowadays.
No, it's just all gross to be gross, but not a lot of it's scary.
My niece is terrified of clowns, and so she would not watch your movie.
I know a lot of people that, like, I know personally, they're like, I love you, but I'm not watching their movie. I'm like, okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's no offense to you. It's
No offense to you. It's your clown friends.
Yeah,
Nope.
it's a movie about clowns.
Yes.
Um, which I mean, whatever,
Yeah.
everybody has their things.
Mhm.
I clowns don't terrify me at all because they're
No, me
just
either. It makes it less scary, I feel like, and more funny, but
I know like I mean some like Pennywise is
no, well,
terrifying.
that's different. Yeah.
Um, and then there was that freak show season of like American Horror Story, and they had a clown that was like terrifying.
Yeah.
And so I will admit that that was, you know, and actually interestingly enough, a friend of mine, his I guess his wife's cousin was the guy who played that role
Oh,
in
that's
the
great.
yeah. So
Oh,
I when I heard that because it's a friend from town, and everything, I know his wife and Evan, I was like, really? And he was like,
yeah.
yeah, I went to he came to our wedding,
Oh, how
and everything
funny.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, that is neat,
Yeah.
like such a cool thing. I never asked him to like introduce me to him because
Yeah.
like that doesn't it does world doesn't work that way. You don't, you know, it's just same as you don't walk up to Judd Apatow and ask him for a writing job or an acting job. You
Hmm.
just, you might ask him for an autograph and he's a-okay with that, but
Yeah.
you don't ask him for that because it's rude, you know.
Hmm.
And we don't want to be rude to
No,
to
to
our
anyone, but
to
yeah.
anyone, because people are upset about that. Like
Hmm.
they want to be left alone,
Hmm.
about that stuff. That's not how it works. You need to go through an agent and and have your stuff seen,
Yeah.
that way. I mean, or they meet you at a film festival or something,
Hmm.
and things like that. Stuff like that, like the real way to do it, not
Absolutely.
not just a waiter asking for somebody to
Yeah.
or my favorite Entourage bit. You ever watch that show, Entourage?
No, I've seen it a couple times, but not enough to really remember it. No.
The agent was at a party for his kid, like a birthday party for his
Oh,
kid, and the
no.
clown came up and said, "Hey, here's my reel. If you can represent me." He was like, "Dude, I'm at my kid's birthday party,
Terrible.
like,
Yeah.
you're right." And he was like, "Yeah, but blah blah blah." And he was like,
No.
"I'll take a look at it another time. Can you go away, please?"
Yep. In
And
the trash can it goes.
yeah, exactly, basically, which was funny because the guy who played that role and said his name is actually a really famous writer. So it
Oh,
was a
how
joke on
funny.
him,
Yeah.
I think. But people do that stuff
Yeah.
all
Oh,
the
I'm sure they
time,
do.
and it's rude. So
Yeah.
don't, if you're an actor, leave for people like agents or, people like that alone. They have to discover you.
Yeah.
That's hard, but
Yeah.
it can happen. It
Hmm.
happens all the time.
Yeah.
So, what are your final thoughts on this movie?
I love it to pieces, but I feel like a lot. You're either you love it or you don't like it and you don't understand it at all. And I just love it.
I mean, they had to figure out a way to make that board game make sense.
Yeah.
So they had to come up with
Well,
these.
and it's so much like the game because another thing, like when they're running in the end, where they're like, look, this is what happened over here. And then, but wait, this is what happened over there. That's so reminiscent of how the game is actually like played because you're jumping rooms all the time. That I love that aspect of it because a lot of people would think, man, why are they doing that? Like, why are they running around? It's so reminiscent of how the game is played that it makes me love it even more. You know what I mean? So somebody that didn't play the game might not understand its like cheesy, campy way, but it's so true to the game.
So I think the reason it bombed, sadly,
Mm-hmm.
is because people were thinking, I don't want to watch a board game turned into a movie. Like,
True.
right? Because if you
When
notice,
has that ever been done?
right, and after this movie, what when has it been done? You
Yeah.
know,
Nope.
Battleship years later, and that didn't even have
Oh,
anything to do.
do
And
with
I
it.
don't think anybody even said you sunk my battleship.
Mm-mm.
So it was
Which
like,
that's a tragedy, isn't it? Gosh.
well, I think they did like make fun of it in another
Yeah.
movie called like American Warships, and
Oh,
they
okay.
actually said like you sunk my warship or something like that, similar to it. But I don't think they said it in the movie,
Mm-mm.
because they were trying to take it seriously. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's a
Why?
fucking board game about two battleships fighting each other.
Yeah.
I think it's two, right?
Ridiculous.
There's only two. You
Yeah.
can only have two against each other per movie. Could you imagine if they did Twister as a movie? I mean, they've already made a movie called Twister, but it's
But
not the
not the
board.
that would be great.
I don't know
It'd be
what.
great if it was a horror movie.
They could make a horror Twister. Yeah, I would watch that.
Yes.
That would be interesting. Um, so at the end of my stuff, I like to at the end of this, so I have two other people who do this sort of thing. So my buddy John would do it for Mainstream Monday on
Okay.
Horror Film Lovers. We would look at the how much they did at the box office and
Uh-huh.
how well it did compared to like the other movies that we've reviewed. And then so does my buddy Joe for Hollywood Boulevard podcast likes to review like he would what is it? He would do um like the mm, what is it? Like the numbers of how well it did in the box office. Um as part of like, this was number one at the box office. This was number two at the box office and stuff. So I like
For
that
that year.
for that year. So let's look at that but first off, so this was a $15 million budget. That's pretty good at that time. That's
Yeah,
like to
absolutely.
say maybe 30 to 40 million today,
Yeah.
right? And it only made 14 million, so it was a bomb. And once again, I think that might be the biggest
Yeah.
thing of so what was it? What time did it come out? What day did it like came out in 1985, but what was the release date? Um it's at the bottom here, isn't it? December 13th. Wow. That's kind of
Yeah.
where things go to die anyway.
Yeah. That was
Um
probably not a good month.
yeah, well, it's usually not unless you're doing like a big movie for Christmas.
Mhm.
So, but other than that, movies, in the box office. So let's see here. What was the thing here?
Oh, wow. There's actually a Clue documentary. I didn't know that.
Oh well.
Yeah, it's called Who Done It.
It might be, is it on this disc? So,
Maybe.
no, they do have a few interviews. So they have The Perfect Motive, Directing Clue, interview with director Jonathan Lin. they've got the scene of the crime producing clue with associate producer Jeffrey Chernoff, and not just a game scoring clue. Interview with the film music historian Daniel Schweiger about John Morris's score. So
Mm.
I know Daniel Schweiger. He's a funny guy. I like him. Is that all? Wait, hold on. It's not letting me see the full weekend box office chart. For
Mm.
okay, so number one that weekend was Rocky 4.
Oh, it got slaughtered. No wonder.
Yeah. The
No
second one
wonder.
was Jewel of the Nile.
Oh, which is a great one. That's a sequel too. That's interesting.
Yep. Third one is Spies Like Us,
Oh, wow.
which we reviewed for Hollywood Boulevard. White Knights from Sony Pictures. I don't know that one.
Mm-mm.
It says Santa Claus. I'm wondering if that's Santa Claus the movie. I think it is. Santa Claus the movie. It's not the Santa Claus with
Yeah.
Tim Allen because that was until the
Interesting.
90s. Then Clue was number 6,
Huh.
by the way. Number 7 was Young Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, how funny.
Which I didn't know that was a movie. I thought that was a TV show. Um, then 8 was Walt Disney's One Magic Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Number 9 is King Solomon's Mines,
Huh.
and then number 10 was Back to the Future, which had already been
In running.
in running. So, um,
Wow.
yeah. So how many weeks was that? 'Cause I think what Clue. Yeah, so Clue was only in it for the first week. Jewel and Nile was in it for the first week. Rocky 4 was in it. Jeez, why isn't it? Ah, I hate these things. Like I'm trying to pull it over. Third week, and
Wow.
it was number one.
Yeah.
So, um, Spies Like Us was 2. So yeah, but yeah, then there's, Back to the Future was in its 24th week.
Wow.
So yeah, so they were, uh, that's what it was like back
Yeah, that's
then.
awesome.
The only closest thing that we've had this year or last year to that was Deadpool and Wolverine being in like
Yeah.
the box office for so long because
Yeah.
they knew they could milk as much as they could before they put it out on
Yeah.
streaming, and everything. And I think even after they put it on streaming, it was still in the theaters
Mm-hmm.
for people to see. That's the way to do it anyway, because
Yeah.
like if people want to go see it, they'll see it. If they don't, and maybe
Yeah.
they like it enough that they're like, I'll go watch it in the theater now, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they should still keep every movie, at least 2 months, if
Yeah.
not 3 months. Companion left, bunch of movies have left the theater before like the opportunity to like
Yeah.
really get to see them, and it sucks because some of that stuff is really, really good,
Mm-hmm.
but anywho,
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy. So yeah, I think I'm gonna continue doing that where I think only when Joe comes on my
Mm-hmm.
show, I'll let him take over on that, because that's his favorite thing
Yeah.
to do. But I think I'm gonna start doing that for these because it's interesting to see what that was
Oh, it totally is.
number
Mm-hmm.
six in the first weekend. So I
Yeah.
wonder if I mean how good did it do? Like how much money did it actually make? Um, so it made $2 million in its first weekend.
Yeah.
And that's yeah, so if you look at it being 14 million, it didn't last very long,
Mm-mm.
maybe. So or it didn't do very well, period. It was a movie that like I mean I was 3, you were
Yeah.
2, so we didn't know it existed until we
Mhm.
were much older. Same thing as like with Princess Bride. Um,
Yes.
I think Princess Bride, I think I was about the age that it came out on video that I started watching it, and everything. So it's,
Mhm.
one of those things where I really enjoyed this and really liked looking back. And I rewatched some of it. Didn't want to rewatch the whole thing before, because I already rewatched it earlier,
Yeah.
like last month or whatever. And I really enjoyed rewatching it then,
Yes.
especially with
Yeah.
a friend. This is
Mm-hmm.
definitely a movie you got to watch with your friends. especially ones that haven't seen it. As so when did you watch it by yourself, or
Uh-huh.
did your
Yep,
family
twice.
watch it?
The last month and this time too.
So none
Yeah.
of your family members watched it or
Hmm.
anything?
Nope.
Wow,
Yep.
I'm surprised.
Yep.
You
Nope. I
know,
loved it.
you were like, I want to watch this by my, it's a personal thing, you know.
Hmm.
Um, but hopefully people who, come check out Hollywood Knockbusters. I mean, we pick a lot of movies that like people, don't whatever. We did like Super Mario Brothers. Remember
Yes.
that movie?
Yes.
Yeah, it was bomb. It was a bomb,
Yeah.
back in the 90s. Uh, was it we did speaking of that, we also did Double Dragon, which is also a bomb, and you
Right.
know,
Because it was made after a video game.
yeah, well, the video, yeah, so Super Mario was made after a video game,
Yeah.
and these were bombs. And then just recently, the Super Mario Brothers cartoon
Yes.
made really like bank in the box office.
Hmm.
So I think they might keep doing that. I think that was like the plan, or they might do like other video games,
Yes.
like
I hope so.
I would love to see Link eventually.
Yeah.
I wanted to see it as live action. I think it'd be awesome, but might be harder,
Hmm.
easier to do it on, on video, whatever, on cartoon, you know.
Hmm.
And then your kids can watch it,
Yep.
because they'll be old enough to like
Yep. We're a big
appreciate.
Zelda household, so you know,
Really
one. Hmm.
nice. You still play video games?
Sometimes, I mean, like right now, I'm playing Astro, the bot game, the PlayStation 5 little robot that like is
Mhm.
kind of like the I don't know flagship for all the cute stuff you can do on the PlayStation. With my little daughter, she hasn't ever played a game before, but she loves that little robot. So,
There's another robot called Astro
uh-huh.
that is like a pet,
Ooh.
robot. Yeah.
Is it
And
like real, like a little like
no,
thing?
it's not like a dog or anything. It's like a robot, but
Oh, okay.
basically it's like a pet. You can,
Oh,
and I think one of the like things is it has like a little cup holder, so you can go and get your cups,
nice.
put on there, and
Yeah.
and then, so you don't have to do it, so it'll help
Yeah.
you do that, and like as if it was like fetching you things
Yes.
and stuff like that. And then so I was like, if they did an Astro, are they gonna do a Rosie? You know?
Yeah. I know that
Like
would
I
be so
want a
cool.
Rosie. I want somebody who comes in and cleans,
Yes.
the
Wouldn't that
house
be?
for you, talks to you, and
Yes.
you know, whatever. But, I guess people would be afraid of that because then they'd be afraid that
Slightly.
they'll probably just kill you. Like,
Hmm.
because I guess if it's not programmed to kill you, then
Yeah. You
hopefully it
never
won't.
know.
Yeah, I mean, it can't program itself to do stuff, I don't think. Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. AI is working on uh we're
I'm
gonna live
sure.
in a weird, crazy age soon, I
I
think.
know.
Next 10 years,
Yeah.
uh we're gonna have some crazy stuff like as far as technology goes.
I know. I'm
Uh,
not looking forward to it, honestly.
I mean, somebody was saying that, I think it was a comedian, but was saying like, back in the day, we would do there would be all these movies of like
What
people,
it'll be like.
right, with robots, and each one of us, we were all trying to kill the robots. Yeah, and now we just let the robots in our house, and run our
And help us
lives.
do everything. I know, isn't that funny?
Yeah, and I was like we just accept robots now. But back in the 80s and everything, we were
Yes.
like, fuck robots. They're
Yes.
gonna die, you
Yeah.
know. So they're not gonna take over.
Yeah.
Now we're just letting them, like, sure,
Mhm.
you can be in our phone, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I
I,
know. Listen to everything we do. I know.
I don't know. It's listening to. They all are. They're figuring out a way to kill us all, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, on
Awesome.
that note,
Yay.
thank you so much. This was fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
we did talk about other things, but I mean,
Yeah.
there's not much to talk about as far as the movie goes because,
No.
there's a plot, but like, we don't want to go into the whole plot because it's kind
Yeah.
of there's like random characters like a cop and
Hmm.
mo I don't know, was there a motorcyclist or something? What was that guy?
So it was like a guy whose car broke down.
Car
He
broke
took
down.
his phone. Hmm.
Apparently his boss was there. I don't even know which one
Yeah,
that
so
was.
or he was a driver for the military guy in the past.
Yeah.
But that like is kind of funny because you would have recognized the dude. You know what I mean? Like it that was kind of silly because you'd think the driver would have recognized the guy in the lobby. Like, hey, I worked for you. You know what I mean? Like, but that's all right.
Yeah. There's a couple things like that where I think they had to bring in these other characters that died that have nothing to do with the movie
Yeah.
because otherwise it would just be them talking the
Yeah.
whole time and stuff.
And
And so
no
they had
like
to,
fear. They had to introduce that like they're all going to get busted if this guy figures it out or whatever.
exactly. So you had to
Yeah.
figure out who the killer was, you know,
Hmm.
and and then you get the endings where you get whole different groups of
Which is
endings. You have no
adorable.
idea who it is,
Yeah.
or whatever. And then each ending they have to do the whole thing over again.
I love it.
It's crazy.
So
It's
funny.
it's funny, but like it takes a while. So I'm like,
Yes.
oh my God, I
Hmm.
have to see this again
Yeah.
and again
Yeah. It's like
and
the
again.
last 20 minutes. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, but that's usually what happens the last 20 minutes. There's a third act,
Yeah.
so it all wraps up and it's funny. The characters are nice. I mean, there's great cast. We didn't even say like Michael McKean and
No.
Martin Mull are the two guys, and I used to love Martin Mull on like Roseanne and stuff,
Hmm.
and all these other movies that he just randomly pop in on. Um, so I loved him and I loved Michael McKean. I love all these actors. So all these
Yeah.
actors were just so funny. So there you go.
Hmm.
Uh, so next month I'm gonna announce what I'm planning to do, but we'll see. Next month I've got John Ward coming and joining me for Solo. So we were talking about you said you remembered that movie too,
Hmm.
you know. So yeah, I can't wait. I bought it on DVD. It was expensive on DVD because it's kind of out of print.
Yeah.
I had to buy it on DVD and then I was like, you know what? I want to do this, like, because I have not seen this. I don't think I've seen this since I rented the VHS.
Oh man,
Even
that's
though, because
awesome.
I remember watching the theaters and then, you know, then that and then just never. I don't think I didn't have a DVD of it, so
Yeah.
I just don't think I ever watched it again. So, it'll be a fun one to do. But we'll be back. So join us for that. And until then, everybody, thank you, Mary, for
Of
joining
course.
us. And everybody else, check out Mary Kate. She's been doing a lot of big stuff. What else have you been up to?
Well, most recently I'm doing like a cool thing that we aren't really talking about until the 28th. But
Wait,
it's
are you making it on the 28th?
so our little like campaign for it and the little like explanation of what it all is comes out on the 28th.
Okay.
So it's going to be like an ongoing fun thing.
Yes. You can't say much, but okay.
But it's adorable. It's really, really, really cute. Have you seen like the black and white pictures of me with that are like with like the bats and all that stuff?
No, I don't
Oh,
think I
it's
have.
it's cute. There's like promo pictures, but
I'm
it's adorable.
excited.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So
You got a lot of
I mean
stuff
that's
going on.
fun. And then we've got to finish Clown Motel and then get it out to everybody. So that's going to be super fun too.
And then we got something,
Uh-huh.
you know.
Super fun
So,
too. I
yeah.
know. Yeah,
So
it's good stuff.
there's a lot going on right now,
Hmm.
So I
All
can't,
positive. So
what?
I said it's all positive. I love it.
All positive. I can't wait. There's a lot going on. So
Yeah,
this is going to be a crazy 2025
it
because
will.
there's a
We just
lot
got to get
going
through the
on.
cold part.
Yeah, let's just get through all the
Yes.
snow and shit and
Yeah.
then, and then like next month will be March. So hopefully, that brings spring, you
Yeah.
know.
It's my birthday month too, so I love
Happy
it.
birthday. That's awesome.
Yeah, the 16th, almost St. Patrick's Day. So freaking close. Mm.
Actually, this will come out till this actually doesn't come out till March.
After? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
March. So
great.
this
I'll be
comes
a
out
year
March.
older. That's
So this
cool.
would be March. What when was your birthday?
16th.
The
So it'll come
16th.
out after.
Yeah, it's the last Wednesday. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it'll be what's next week? I don't know,
Next
20
week's the
something. It'll be
last week of February, I think, or
yeah,
something.
and then they have the
Yeah.
same amount of days except more days,
Yeah.
but it's the same days. So like,
Oh, that's
you know,
cool.
you never notice that? That March,
What?
February and March have the same days except the 28th,
Oh,
becomes the 31st.
they don't change.
No,
Crazy because of
because
the lack
like,
of days.
yeah, because like what is it? Saturday the 1st was Saturday
Oh,
the 1st for February. Happens every year.
oh, that's so wild. Oh, wow.
I'm surprised you never noticed that. I just don't know why. I just like,
That's
yeah, I think it took me a while before I noticed it.
yeah.
So, you
Oh
know.
man, that's cool. So
All
yeah,
right.
awesome.
Well, thank you and everybody else. So yeah, we'll be back in April. I'm lying. I lied.
Yeah.
Sorry. I for
Oh,
some reason I thought I was getting in February, and I'm like, wait, no, I was gonna put this on. We just had to keep had to keep switching days or something.
yes.
But I always
I was
planned to put
sick
this
last
on.
time too. I got so sick after
That's
that Vegas
right.
convention. Oh my gosh.
That's right. Do you
Yeah.
think the convention did it to you?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
It
Yep.
was a fun convention though, right? Because
It was way too much fun. That was my punishment. I'm
you
convinced.
had fun, now you must suffer. That's
Exactly.
fine. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, it was worth it. It was worth
I,
it.
I think there's something called con crud that
Yes.
happens to a lot
Yes.
of people. This is why when after COVID hit, it became sort of a thing where, you definitely had to wear masks and
Yeah.
stuff, and then you were in enclosed spaces a lot and stuff, and like kind of claustrophobic. So like, there's gonna be,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been crazy. So
Yeah.
I'm just happy. We were able to get this done now. I
Yeah.
didn't care when we got it done, as long as we got it done before March.
Yeah.
And then for some reason I was thinking February. So this is gonna be out in March, and now that makes me feel happy
Good.
getting that done. So I don't have to like rush to get this done. I can like take
Yeah.
a little bit of time.
Good.
But this will be out on the last Wednesday of
Awesome.
March. So, all
Cool.
right, everybody. Hope you
Yeah.
guys enjoyed this and join us in April for a brand new episode. Until
Awesome.
then, have a good one.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.